You can't just say, I don't want pets. And you can put on there, say no pets. Did you know a tenant can say they don't have a pet, move into a property that allows pets, and get a pet? And you can't legally kick them out. I'm a renter and you're leasing a property. You say no pets allowed, even though there's no medical reason and the condo corporation allows you to have pets under 30 pounds. I say, I don't have any pets. Maybe I'm not lying. Maybe I don't have any pets. I move into the unit, I get a cat. You can't do anything about it because under the condo corporation, you're allowed to have a cat.
All right, welcome back to the DC headquarters. I'm Agent Double O, your host with the main man of the hour, Mr. David Chinelli. We're back for a great episode, and this is a topic that everybody goes to when they're looking for a place, and that is pets. Some landlords allow it, some don't, but it seems to be something that can either make or break you getting a unit. And we have DC, who's been in the business for a long time and has his fair share of seeing all the clauses in there. And I'm going to break down what you're allowed to have in these units, what you're not allowed, and what the landlord can do and cannot do, and go from there. But pet clauses are void in Ontario, but why do so many landlords still include them in leases? No pets.
We're not legally allowed to do that.
You're not legally allowed
No. There's a caveat to that. So you cannot ask for no pets in your property unless there's basically two criteria or criteria. I don't always get those two mixed up. The first one is if you're living in a condo corporation or in a building that it's against the condo rules. So there are certain condos or townhouses, etc., that they have restrictions. So if you look on our MLS, it'll say, are pets permitted? It'll say, it used to say yes, no, and then restricted. Now it's either restricted or no. There's always restrictions on the condo corporation. So the size of the dog you have, how many pets, what type of pets. Like you can't bring in an alligator.
Yeah, you can't.
People tried. I'm not joking. Like
some people have pet cheetahs and stuff like that, exotic animals.
Exactly. So you can't do that. So that's so they're able to say like no. Like some condo corporations say like no dogs and cats, only birds. So there are those regulations. So if you're a property owner or a landlord or if you're managing a property that's under those regulations, you're legally allowed to say there is restrictions over here and that pet is not permitted. There are some condo corporations say no pets, no matter what they are, 0 pets, and you're allowed to say no pets.
It was like a hamster.
Yep.
Nothing, no animal,
no animal whatsoever.
Wow.
Yeah, there are some regulations like that. One's rare because it stays in your own property, and if it's found to have that, you could be thrown out. Yeah, you can, like if it's your lease, your lease could be terminated. In a condo corporation, they'll ask you to remove the animal or the pet. Otherwise, you can face. I think they have to sell the property, right? So that's yes, or yeah, definitely if you're a tenant, you'll be kicked out. And the second thing is if you have a medical requirement that you can't have pets,
like an
allergy, a severe allergy.
Okay.
So like no dogs, because like, and they say, well, if I ever want to move back into my property, I can't have a dog live here because it gets into the walls and all. So, but you need to have a legal medical reason for it. You can't just say, I don't want pets. And if you can put on there, say no pets. So did you know a tenant can say they don't have a pet, move into a property that allows pets and get a pet? And you can't legally kick them out.
Wait, say it again. So they can not have a pet.
So I'm coming up to you. I'm a renter and you're leasing a property. You say no pets allowed, even though there's no medical reason and the condo corporation allows you to have pets under 30 pounds. I say, I don't have any pets. Maybe I'm not lying. Maybe I don't have any pets. I move into the unit, I get a cat. You can't do anything about it because under the condo corporation, you're allowed to have a cat. Legally, you can't kick me out because even if it says on there no pets, it's like, well, do you have a medical reason for it? Did you disclose it to me? And you're not living in the property. So yeah, you really,
you can actually sneak pie, like everything like that. Have you seen stories with owners have their property ruined because of a pet? It's like defecating all over the place, walls scratched up the wazoo.
So we own rental properties, as you know, and one's not too far over here. My brother has a salon. Above the salon, there was a rental property, and they weren't paying rent, and my mom was trying to get them out, and they let their dog defecate all over the property, rip up the baseboards, floors were ruined. They're peeing on the floor, and I'm like, oh yeah. Now, I also have had some clients where they said, now, if you're a realtor and if you have a pet, you're disclosing, especially if it's a larger pet, it's at a house, and you can put on there like, you have a dog. But I usually call these, if you have a client that has dogs, it's always a good idea to call the landlord and say, hey, or call the representation, say, my client we want to be upfront. We don't want to lie to you. My client has pets. Now, what you can do is say, listen, we could give you a deposit. If there's anything that the dog ruins or the cat ruins, you can take it from the deposit, even though it's, as long as it's not required. Like in Canada, you cannot, in Ontario, you can't take a security deposit. You're not allowed. You're not allowed.
For a pet?
For anything.
A security deposit?
You're not allowed to take it. You're allowed to take last month's rent.
But you can't, what about a key deposit?
Key deposit is different.
Okay.
Key deposit is for the replacement of keys.
Okay.
But you can't take a security deposit in case you're for, ruining of the property or something like that. So you can't do that. Unless you negotiate it. So I don't want to have a dog over here. I'm like, it's going to ruin the property. We've seen it before. So what I've done is I said, we will give you a security deposit as long as the tenant offers the security deposit. Yeah, legally they're not supposed to accept it, but that's how we've gone around it, right? And the dog, it's happened before.
It's happened before, right?
It's happened before, and it's and then so you do a walkthrough beforehand. You take videos, pictures, all that, and then when you move out to get your security deposit, you do the same thing. A key deposit, it's mostly for condo corporations where you have fobs or expensive keys. Keys are going to cost you a lot of money to replace, and technically the key deposit is for the replacement in case you lose those keys, and it could be expensive. So our key deposits are anywhere from $200 to $300. I've seen $400 or $500 replacement. You're not supposed to use those as a security deposit, but I've also seen it used as a security deposit, right? But legally, you're not supposed to use it as a security deposit.
Wow.
Yeah. So all the rules and regulations around renting, yes. If you have a pet, or if you're thinking of renting, don't get a pet. Move in the property first. And then get a pet. Yes.
What about those people who already have a dog already?
You're screwed.
Really? So
oh my God, because
what's the rejection rate? You see the people who are trying to get a property to rent.
Well, what's going to happen? When you go to them, you're going to complain to landlord tenant board, and you have to prove that they don't want pets because I didn't like they had a pet and I didn't like their credit score. Again, it's the discretion of the landlord who they choose, right? I've seen landlords, and as a landlord, I've taken tenants that have terrible credit scores, but they told me the story behind it. Why were their credit scores so bad? Also, I didn't mind bad credit scores because I knew they couldn't go anywhere else. So because other people weren't as open-minded as I was. And so they treat the property beautifully. It was perfect. And a good relationship with them because
you're their last hope pretty much.
Well, yeah. And I had that about the trans guy I had. We had terrible credit. And sometimes you couldn't pay me. And we're okay. He was so happy that I was able to. I'm listen, I'm a human being. I understand you having struggles. I'm here to help, right? I'm not here just to hammer you for your rent, but don't screw me in the back either, right? Don't do that either. So I'm helping you as long as
he never screwed you over.
Never. Really? No. It was, and at the end when he moved out, he's like, oh my God, he moved in with his fiance, and it was he was giving me glowing reviews. If you need anything from me, it was so nice. Tyler was amazing. He was great. Yeah.
Can there be a rule by the landlord tenant board that can override tenant or landlords who don't want to have a pet? Be like, hey, these are common things that everybody has. Let's actually just put this in the agreement or stipulation that you cannot deny someone because
it's in there.
It's in there.
Yeah.
So
it's in the standard lease.
So what's the issue that people don't get places because they have a pet?
It's the landlord's discretion.
Okay. Gotcha.
You got to prove that they didn't get denied because of the pet.
And that's tough.
That's tough. That's tough. Listen, you can have. I've gotten applications even as a realtor here. We've sent it to our clients. We've run the numbers and there's just something off, and we don't even look if they had a pet. It was just something off about this individual, and we didn't hire them. Look on paper, they looked fantastic. Natalie and I rented one of our properties. Obviously, I put it on MLS, and we had this agent, and she did the tenant didn't have pets. So this is, I know it's a little bit out of our topic here, but to just explain what's happening. And we put it on the market, and like, it was a pre-construction. It was on Zora right there. And so we're a corner unit, and we're one of the last ones built, because what happened was, if you know about pre-construction, what happens is on these longer towers, a lot of times they'll take one unit per floor and they'll leave it vacant to the end. And that way they can use the crane to bring up all the materials through that window. So like ours was used as that. So all the drywall, all the hardwood. So every other unit was getting fixed, and ours was the very, very last one, which was fantastic for us. That means we didn't have to pay a higher occupancy fee. We didn't care because ours was a large unit. Anyway, so we got to the game a little later, and we looked at, I obviously looked at the prices, and I was like, so I priced mine middle of the road, right? Nothing crazy. And within a day or so, I got an offer of $200 over asking for a single girl. I'm like, okay.
Just for clarity, DC, $200?
Yeah.
Or, okay.
So I think I had it listed for like $3,000.
Okay.
And she was offering us $3,200 a month. Why? Because at the time, there's 7 other units exactly the same as mine, some above, some below, like, and she could have gotten a unit, one of those other units, for less than she was offering. And I didn't expect to get more than asking. So it was just kind of odd. And listen, I think it was turned out she might have been an OnlyFans model, or even if she existed, because we were just kind of running the numbers, and the names on her driver's license was almost exactly the same, but not the same as it was on her, is it her passport or on her Equifax? So I forget what her name was. It was like Erica or something like that too. And on her passport, it had 2 R's as her first name and then the regular last name. But on her passport, there was only 1 R, and then another letter was doubled up on the last name. So obviously something was doctored. And I called the other agent. I said, hey, thank you for the offer, but I'm like, how long have you known this individual for? I was like, well, I know this man. I just kind of met her and stuff too. I'm like, interesting. Did you know the names are different on their passports? Like, no. I'm like, also, we called her current landlord. Did you know she moved out 15 days ago? She's like, what? So things weren't adding up. So anyway, long story short, she didn't have a pet, but there are other reasons we could have used the. My point is that we can use this, like this one just does not pass the sniff test. It just doesn't pass the sniff test.
Gotcha.
So yeah, so we could use that. If she had a pet, I couldn't say we're not hiring you. I'm not giving you this property because you have a dog or a cat. But I'm saying, but based on your fraudulent activity, I'm like, and I said the other, like, you may want to drop her sooner than later because this one is not a real person, or something's kind of fishy here.
Yeah, it's dodgy. Let's talk about breeds of pets. Let's say for a dog, right? One common one that people are scared of is like a pit bull, right? Because that can actually cause damage. It can wreak havoc. Is there?
You met Ariana.
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
She has a pit bull. Her dog's beautiful. Like, doesn't do anything to her. Like, she's well trained. So anyway, it's stigmas. Yeah, of course.
But a dog can react. It can act irrationally.
But it also is based on your owner. I've seen Chihuahuas, those little MFs. They'll bite everything.
I never was a fan of Chihuahuas, to be honest with you.
They can ruin everything. Guys, it's your owners. You got to look at the demeanor of the owner. Like, so different breeds, sure, might have, there might be certain connotations. Like, honestly, you don't want to have, if you have hardwood floors, you don't want to have a heavy dog on your floor. Then there's the hair. So you want to stay away from like
shedding.
So like golden retrievers, as cute as they are, Natalie's favorite dog, or Bernese Mountain Dogs, gorgeous dogs, horrible for floors. Like, so unless you have like scratch resistant floors, you have brand new hardwood floors. Yeah, I can see homeowners being like, like, I'm not a fan of this type of dog. So there's hair you got to worry about. Then you have like our cats. Like, sometimes our cat, like Charlotte, she rubs her face on everything and she just sneezes everywhere. She's got boogers all the time. And it was like, you gotta keep up with that cat, man. But it's just like small things. So it's not always dog breeds, but yeah, that's the demeanor of the owner. Now, if you were seriously considering, if you're a landlord or considering a tenant that has a pet, meet the pet, see how the owner treats the pet. That goes a lot further than the actual breed.
So like, wait, say it again.
If you are considering
a
tenant that has a dog, especially dogs, not necessarily cats, a dog, meet them before you actually go ahead.
Like a pet interview.
Yeah, we'll meet the person too. It's always good. We do Zoom calls a lot of times too now because some of my landlords are a little skeptical of like who this person is. So we can meet in person, but we can do Zoom calls. We ask them lots of questions. That's pretty frequent. We've been doing that. But yeah, do a pet interview. See how the owner reacts. If the dog's going around and he's going crazy and he's like, and the owner's not like doing anything, right? Yeah. Enforcing the rules or not doing that, your house is going to be torn to crap.
Speaking about that, what's the wildest pet damaged property you've ever seen that really just ruined the whole deal for you because of a dog? Or I know you've seen so many properties that have.
No, there's one that sticks out of my mind, and it wasn't for a lease. It was for a sale.
It was for a sale house.
So I don't know. Did I not tell you the story? No. Oh God. So my clients, Andrew and Mary, we're going to look at properties, and there's this property in Mississauga, and we couldn't figure out. It was in the price range. It was on this pretty good sized lot, and the house looked like it had some renovations to it. And we're like, why is this house sitting on the market so long? So we booked the appointment, and the realtor, I knew this was a red flag right away. Nice guy. Realtor calls me, and he's like, I got to meet you on the property. So he goes, okay, that's fine. Because sometimes they do. Sometimes sellers will, but it's usually for high end. That's like $6-7 million properties. They want the realtor there. It's fine. That's normal. This is like $1 million. It wasn't like high end property, right? Like, okay, great. There's not a lockbox. It's like, oh, I got to talk to you before you go in. I'm like, oh shit, here we go. So we get to this house, and the realtor just says, hey, I'm just like, just to let you know, there's some wonky stuff that's happened in the house. I'm going to sit out here. I'll let you guys do a private viewing. I'm like,
wonky stuff?
Why is he here then? And I'm like, things that are not adding up. And I'm like, yeah. So he tried to like renovate some stuff himself and blah, blah, blah. I'm like, okay. So maybe it's just some terrible renovation stuff that's going on in the house, right? So we walk in the house, and first off, I notice, okay, God, like he tried to do the kitchen. The kitchen was right in there, and like things were off. Like the receptacles were recessed into the wall. You couldn't even access it with the plug. You couldn't put it on there. Like cabinets were off, and it's like a brand new build. And the floor was like, it was a shitty renovation. I'm like, okay, maybe that's why he's there. Maybe he's worried something's going to fall on us. I don't know what's happening. Like maybe he's doing it for liability reasons, right? And then we notice we walk in another room, and there's all these different types of floors throughout the whole house, right? And kind of leading up to where we're at, right? And we walk into this main area, and we look down, and there's like this weird like kind of thing on the floor. And we're like, well, that's interesting. Like, why would they put a design like that on the floor? Didn't they think anything of it at the time? This will play into it later. And then we go, and like there's like this, they call it a 3-season room, right? So a 3-season room is not really insulated, so you can use it three seasons of the year, but in the wintertime it's too cold. It's basically glass, like a greenhouse. And there's like this hot tub, but it kind of stinks a little bit. It's in there, and I'm like, this is really hot in here. Like, what is going on, right? Again, there's a reason why I'm telling that. So we go outside, we kind of talk like, so we're all three of us are talking. I'm like, wow, that's kind of a shitty renovation, blah, blah, blah. But it's on a beautiful property. I'm like, could we renovate it? This is going to hurt him if we give him a low ball, blah, blah, blah. And we go upstairs, and then the havoc continues, right? Like there's this little room above the garage. It looks like somebody, like it's in the attic in the insulation, but it looks like someone's like been living in there, which you're not really supposed to live in the roof of a house in insulation. And there's little kids been living in the house. You can tell like there's so many unsafe things in this house, right? And then we get to the point where we get to in the master ensuite, the guy got so sick of filling the grout, he just poured a whole bunch of grout, and there was like a mound of grout in the shower. And I'm like, what is this guy thinking? Like, so there's something very off of this house, and we still can't put our finger on what is like why this guy is this way. What the mentality of this guy is just off. Okay. So finally we go to the basement, and we kind of disperse, right? And we're kind of looking at spots, and like the staircase is in the middle of the house. And Andrew and Mary go one way, and I go another way. And we're just kind of trying to like, have you had in the HVAC room? We're looking for the furnace and stuff too. And all of a sudden we both open the door in the middle, and there's this weird ass smell, and it's all dark in there. And we don't really know what's going inside. I'm like, it was pungent. Like it was bad. We're like, oh, is there a sewer backup? Is that what's also going on here? Because based on the rest of the renovations of the house, God, this house
doesn't add up.
It doesn't. Like, well, it's something stinking. Something's like, why are you renovating them? Like, why? It's maybe the guy did some bad plumbing, all this shit too, right? It's okay. So we go upstairs, and we go outside, and we look at the realtor, and he's like, so what'd you guys think? And we're like, well, it was kind of different. He's like, yeah. Any kind of comments were like, well, the renovation. So he goes, yeah. And I'm like, why is there so many different floors? And he's like, well, he kind of liked the look of that. And we're like,
No, like be real for real. Like what?
yeah, like what's going on here, right? Like, and there's like weird thing in the middle and stuff. He's like, okay, well, then we asked the question, like, was there a sewer backup in the basement? And he's like, well, no. He goes, okay, my client's not weird. Oh shit, what is this? And this is where it ties back into animals. He goes, but he breeds this type of snake, these king cobra or king something boas, and we're like, what the? He goes, they're not there now, but he was breeding them down there. That's why it was so dark. In that square in the middle there,
The snake pit.
he wanted to look through the main floor and put plexiglass on there. And that's why he had to cover it up, because he didn't want people seeing the snakes, but he was doing that there. And the hot tub was probably where he'd bring them for them to swim.
Oh my God.
And we're like, we looked at each other. I'm like, are you kidding me? He's like, yeah, my client's not weird. I think he just breeds snakes. I'm like, first of all, that's illegal. You can't do that. But yeah, could you imagine? And he had kids living in this house.
And he's breeding king cobras.
Well, I don't remember the type. Like, no, it was something. It wasn't. They weren't lethal. It was some sort of king something. They were big snakes.
It's like a carpet snake.
Oh yeah, it was. It was some sort of weird snake. But
Yeah.
regardless, you're not supposed to. First, it's illegal, I guess, to breed. I found out later it's illegal to breed snakes. So we obviously got out. But that stink, that stench, it was. You can't get that shit out, man. Oh my God. So we didn't walk out of the house. We ran. We ran so fast out of that house.
Because it could still be like, I don't know if the eggs, some snakes breed eggs and everything like that. You never know, maybe like there's an egg that hasn't hatched somewhere, and then you get there and like a snake pulls up on you. There's even been some crazy stories. I don't know if like this was a couple of years back, but a snake worked its way up through someone's toilet.
Yep.
Through the pipes.
Oh yeah.
You've heard about this.
Yeah.
Right? It was all over CP24.
It used to be the scary thing we used to say was Porky's Revenge, whatever it was, where the snake guy goes to take a sit on the toilet and the snake comes up. Those old movies.
I don't want to think about that, man. That was actually in 1,000 Ways to Die. I don't know if you remember that.
Yeah, I remember that show. Yeah.
1,000 Ways to Die. But ever since I've seen that thing, I've always been, every time I go to the toilet, I'm like,
You look twice.
I look twice because I don't know what can come out of it. You know what I mean? So, these stuff happens all the time and everything, but like that. But as we work towards wrapping up, what can this situation you're in, can it impact negotiations if like a smell, a stench, or something that has to do with the property, like which made you guys run? And of course it's a smell, but it shouldn't impact.
Well, dogs stink. So like it's whenever time you see like, and cats too with the litter if they're peeing and everything. So if you're a landlord, yes, I can understand them being very, very reluctant to get pets. So unfortunately, guys, if you have pets, you can be denied. You're not legally supposed to be denied, but you can be denied. Even our cats sometimes like, wow, our little guy keeps peeing everywhere. He ruins guts. But if it gets into the floor, we've seen places where the owner doesn't clean it right away.
Yeah.
It ruins the floor. So the stench doesn't go away. It damages the floor. And then you have other ones like dogs, where dogs like they keep rubbing up. Like bigger breed dogs stink. Like as a homeowner that owns dogs, they don't smell it. But us that don't own dogs smell. Cats don't smell except the litter box. It drives me insane. But I puke. I don't like smells. But I definitely go into a house, and as much as you try to clean it, it could stay in the house. So if you are renting to somebody with a pet and you have knowledge of this, you have to put in the clause that they have to bring it up to the standard. They may have to repaint the place, bring in an ozonator, anything that removes the stench, because if you go to sell a house and it has a smell, even rent it out, you can deter other renters. So I understand where renters like, well, they're part of the family. I totally understand that. They're great. But if your dog causes any kind of damage, whether it smells or damage to the property, you as a tenant should have some sort of obligation to bring it back to the level it was before you entered the property. Exactly.
Yeah. No, I agree. There's been even some guys who live in my building, like they have massive dogs. Like, and like it's not Dalmatian.
There's no restrictions?
No, but these dogs, like they're like humans. I'm like, you should be charging these dogs rent. Oh my God. And there's two
like Great Danes?
Like great. So there's one called Timbit, right? So she calls it Timbit, and it's like a husky. It's like a big bear. It's like this high, like legit. When I'm standing on the elevator, it's like right here. And I'm like, how do you live with these dogs? Like, and her unit is like a 1-bedroom.
Oh my God.
And there's 2 of them. I think they're like support animals, and like they're very cozy. I pet them before and everything like that. But
Well, that's the other thing. See, we also have to be careful before as wrapping up. Support animals do have a different distinction. That I don't know as much with a landlord, because if the person, because I'm sorry, for my rentals, I've done them personally. Even some of my tenants, we haven't come across where we've needed a support animal. But my rentals, I don't care for. I allow my tenants to have pets. But that's also a different animal. That's different because they're not seen as animals; they're seen as support. So you got to be very careful when dealing with somebody that has a support animal. If you want to deny them, you're already going to get in trouble if you deny somebody if you don't have restrictions allowing pets. But if somebody has a support animal, yeah, there's even more regulations. So yeah, be careful out there, landlords.
be careful. All right. Hopefully this episode cleared up any hesitations, any questions you might have.
Don't have snakes in your house.
And don't breed them. Another thing, don't breed snakes
in your house.
This has been a great episode of the DC Talks podcast. Like, comment, share, subscribe. Let us know if you have any pet questions. DC's emails in the description. If you're looking for a place in the GTA to rent, you know who to go to. And we'll definitely see you next week for a brand new episode of the DC Talks podcast with David Chinelli. Have a great one, everybody.
Peace, everybody.
Peace.